And we're live one more time from the altar. I am the hostess with the mostest, the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, evangelist, North American Sybil. I am your messenger of God, the first child of God. I am the Lilith reincarnated. In order to keep up with me, you would have had to see my morning video and what I posted on my community page. What did I post? Well, okay. The last video, this is what brought me here. My last video, I did an enormous video, an hour-long video, teaching you about sacred geometry, and pretty much what was cut out of there was the Seer yantra. I did a whole entire teaching on the Seer yantra and bringing together all religions and showing how everything came together as one. Now, I brought all that together with Metatron, and in the middle of the Metatron card, it just stopped. I was watching the video and it just stopped. I was like, what the fuck? We didn't get to the end of the Metatron card. We did not read the Seer yantra in the Kali card, and we didn't read the Seer yantra in the sacred geometry. These aren't things I have not read before, but I found that very unusual, that a whole part of my teaching was not to be taught. And so I was thinking, I was like, okay, whatever. So I went back to my video earlier this morning because it had ran together. And in the middle of that video at 28 minutes, the morning video of Rags to Riches, I say to this fucking person, I was like, after everything I've been through, some Texan on his high horse isn't going to come and make me feel bad about my life. I'll send you fucking tornadoes. And depending on where you are, I will mix it with hurricanes. Right? I made this video this morning, and then I say in my second video how later on I had just passed out. Why? Because we went into the Seer yantra, and we were talking about a place of a state of rest and meditation. And I said that I'd been going into sleep because I needed so much rest. And so I wake up, and fucking tornadoes had bursted across fucking the Eastern Plains, not far from where I am, to be honest, had bursted apart across fucking Colorado, and are like making their way all over the U.S., right? And then, my spirit had woke me up earlier, and they showed me how Oscar got caught in 5 hours of rain, just driving through fucking rain and shit, and all this shit. Hold on a second. So I wanted to speak on that because that's the last thing I posted. It's like, a lot of what I'm teaching you is how powerful your words are, how God created the universe with words, and how our words are all powerful. So I'm really kind of guided to bring all this back out and reteach this teaching because it all came together in the sense of manifestation and how you can manifest anything from the universal conscious or the cosmic conscious or the soul of all things, right? Everybody wonders where I get all these great ideas, and it's like there's a place wherever all ideas are, made up. I did this enormous teaching last night on Intro to Jewish Mysticism, and then I brought out Metatron's card, and he was, the teaching of the Kabbalah and all of the Kabbalistic teachings. I started last week when we started in the dark, and I started teaching you that Wolfman was using all of these hermetic principles of alchemy and all of this, the dark teachings of Aleister Crowley in order to gain power. Is he more power than me? No, he just pulls from the left side, and that's where it is. It's like you can't pull from where I was created. I work in the light now, so in essence, they can't, fight it. But ultimately, the whole big fat circle was, A, Jesus was a Jew. B, he owns the entire, what you would call, Christ consciousness, which is a whole realm, which is that, the heaven, you know what I mean? Heaven is a frequency, it's a way of being, it's a thought process. In the sense of what we're talking about, the ascensions, is as far as you can go is to Christ's consciousness, but I have to run past him and go talk some shit to God on my own. And that's me personally. We talked about all of that in this other video that was completely savagely destroyed. And I can remake the video, but that's twice. It's very unusual that I should have to make. The first one was by choice. I was trying to hide some shit. But this one, I'm like, who was hiding what in this video? And I found that extraordinary, but then I was like, there was still something else to be talked about, even if we don't talk about that, because what happened? I created one hell of a fucking storm with my words. I create with my words. And that's what God did. He gave us the power to create with our words. We started with the, we did get through the first card, which was about the Lumerians and about music and about, you know, all of that. And it all comes to a big fat circle. And we have to end this lesson before we jump into our moon day and start a new lesson. What did we learn about this week? We learned about the Tree of Life, which is a form of Judaism that was taught in Jewish, you know, mysticism. Okay? Where did it stem from? We just broke into that, and, you know, all of their teachings, you know, Jesus was a Jew. It was the home of religion. And they took some of the old and some of the new, and they took, you know, and it developed into all kinds of, as they would say, as we say, and it makes more sense now, these left-wing ideas. And that's exactly what someone used on me this morning. They said, you lefties just need to get a job. I don't know, I'll have to go and take a picture of it. I'm not exactly sure what he said. Something like that. But it makes sense because, you know, you're not doing it the right way. So you must be on the left-hand side, I guess is what they call it. The Tree of Life is also described, so the Jewish saw it in one way, the Hindu saw it in another way, Christianity saw it in another way, but nobody provided the real ways. These are ancient teachings. As we got into the Jewish mysticism, we realized that you had to be a rabbi over the age of 40 and married and have all of these, you know, requirements to be met. You know, under the teachings of Aleister Crowley, he would teach you to brainwash yourself and cut yourself. You know what I mean? We learned about all of this. In essence, they were all trying to find a way to reach God and have God's powers to create what they call is have the ability to create new worlds upon worlds. Right? That's called the elixir of life, the philosopher's stone, the the master alchemist, all of that, the God source. It's being able to take, you know, a raw substance and turn it into gold, which is taking a vision and making it a reality. Right? Pretty much. And then we showed the dark practices and why they work in such ways. So there's those of us at the light, a light worker, or a starseed. And that's why I'm from the dark, so I'm just working for the light. I think you guys are funny. I came from I know where you are, and you're my workers, and I'm supposed to bring you out of the dark, but if you want to keep being dark, whatever. I'll laugh at you. I think it's stupid. You did what this weekend? Holy shit. You need Jesus. Anyways. It ain't nothing I ain't never seen when I was walking in the flesh. Anyways, past lives and all that. Going back to it is like, as a light worker, you use these visions to enlighten humanity and to create a new life for humanity. All of this was in my fucking teachings. So I'm really not gonna pull out all of these cards. Why? Because now my new box, let me show you how my new box is created. Let's see. You see that, bro? I have to release all the cards and all the books are underneath it. I'm not doing all that. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Just did it all nice and shit. Why? Because I have, like, organizational skills, like, very obsessive compulsive disorders is what you call those. In the sense of, no, I just made it pretty. I'm not gonna make it ugly. I'm gonna move what I need to get what you need. Why? Because we need to move on from this teaching. But at the same time, it's like the weather. How'd you do that? I set my intentions. That's all it takes, bro. And that's what they try to learn in dark or light. I'm trying to teach. It's not, I mean, it is mystical and it's magical. And again, it goes back to the same thing I always say. First off, you're never going to kill a witch. And things I do are considered witch work because they were never done by an ordinary man. Women can, if a man did it, you wouldn't even call him a fucking wizard, bro. They're called witches. I promise you. There's never been men that do what I do. And if they do it in the dark and cut themselves and do sex magic and shit like Aleister Crowley. I'm sure people that had powers like me were women. Why? Because it was divine feminine power given by God, bro. He didn't give it to man. He gave man the ability to create with his hands, not with his mind. Sorry, you're mindless freaks. You think you know it all, but it was Eve that had the apple, douchebag. You're like, damn, I hate you. I know. Well, I tried to, you know. Here I am again. Here we are again. I'm still trying to get all these cards out. This fucking shit just to get you the same shit I already just done teach to you. And I promise I have taught all this before. We have to finish with Metatron's card for you to understand any of this. Metatron. I went to Michael. That's cool. And they're all part of a big old family. Whether the light or the dark. And that's what you don't understand. They work together. It's a polarity. For every dark being, he has an opposite, which is the light. Alright. I shared the picture of my white feather in the car and all of this. Alright? We didn't finish the card at all. Let me see where I can get to right here. The message. You are crowned with the light of source because you are the divine incarnated. Walk upon the earth as an angel, and life shall conspire to lift you up. Wisdom is available to those who truly follow the integrity of their hearts. And that's it. They're doing it from their minds. They're doing it from desire and fear and control and possession, success. That's why dark practitioners can't win like me, and they can't harness the power that I have. And they also why they envy and hate it. If I had that power, I would be what? Trying to get the things of this world like Oscar? Shut up. Like Russ? Shut up. Like his mother? Shut up. There's no happiness in the things of this world, losers. Hey, would you take it easy back there? Listen to this. This was the end of it. And you can buy these cards to learn the visualizations that we teach you, to meet the angels, so you can actually sit and have some intimate time with this angel. Who is this angel? This is Enoch. Alright, you share the wisdom of Metatron when you realize we are all connected through oneness of the Creator. All things, all beings have a consciousness, even the rocks and the trees. So live your life from the perspective of that all existence is part of you and is sacred. And that's where you learn how to do all the magical shit that I can do. You tap into the soul. That's what they call alchemy. That's what it is I realize I can tap into your light. I'm a light, you're a light, there's a light in everything. I can connect to all the light. With just that knowing, I can connect to all things, right? And with that connection, I showed you what I can do with it as far as astral traveling and all of that. I could, if I was a dark practitioner, I could go in and I could sit inside your space and haunt you, or I could put thoughts in your mind, or we could have conversations in your head. I could do stupid shit like that. And that's how it is. It's like everything is connected to one thing. We're just a fragment of it in pieces. It's not a conscious, but that's what you call it in the scientific way. And he has to do with all that scientific bullshit. You know what I mean? Sacred geometry. Geometry is science and all that. It's soul. The God source. We're all part of a source of God. A reflection of the light. We all reflect it differently. We all reflect God. I taught that in my earlier videos, is how we just, we have a God experience. We are God in the human experience. We come out, we have an experience, we take it back to God, tell it about it. We come back and he makes a better experience for us. That's how it works. It's an evolution together as a co-creation. Okay? All things and beings, blah, blah, blah. When you understand the principle of the microcosmo and the macrocosmo, you will also come to understand that you are not just a bystander in your experience here on earth. You are a powerful, angelic creator God, capable of mastering many great feats. That is why you have come to this planet at this time. You are one of the souls that have chosen to be here to assist humanity an awakening from rebirth, from fear to love. And that's all of a sudden my video cut off right here. Walk softly upon the earth, knowing that she is an extension of you. You may wish to study sacred geometry, the secrets of alchemy, or hermetic principles to further awaken the wise one within. And go figure, I blasted him yesterday. Wolfman had shared a video 11 months ago saying, about alchemy and the hermetic principles and the Calabastic teachings. The night before that, I showed you in the Dark Arts book that he also derives from, how he uses sex magic in the teachings of Aleister Crowley to, as I told Marshall, he rapes divine feminine energy straight from their fucking pussies. Really? Yeah. He has no divine feminine energy of his own. He has nothing more than a big fat man's ego that wants to fucking conquer and destroy. A look at me attitude. And I am better than most. He's an atom. And breaking it down to sacred geometry, how many atoms does it take to make a fucking molecule? Anyways, you can learn all about that through his stupid teachings, how he tries to sound so sophisticated as he reads it out of a book but doesn't apply it in his life. And for the stupid things they do apply it for. Yeah, dude, they're mystical teachings that you can buy in a bookstore and try to use it to make your life better than somebody else's. Or you could just get right with Christ and let God do all the work for you. That's how I look at it. I mean, you could do all of the work externally and make a bunch of karma for yourself, or you could do all of the work internally, clean out all your karma, and let God show you how to make a wonderful life for yourself. That's, the choice is yours, the red or the blue pill. With all that ED going on, they're called erectile dysfunctioning, you might want to decide carefully on which pill you want to take on this one. So we talked about all this, and I was like, damn, how come my whole teaching got fucked up? And I guess that's it, because we needed to tell you how fucked up the teaching really is. What people do with these kind of teachings. And that's it. He's just me in the dark. He's like, and I knew he was. And it wasn't a bad thing until he started to practice dark on me, and I didn't see that. I was like, you motherfucker. And what he was doing to women. What a douchebag. What's he doing? He's pimping himself out to bring all this fucking divine feminine energy in. And then he wines and dines and he takes all their energy. What a loser. What a loser. Anyways, and moving on. I still stand on the fact that if I was going to lose my virginity to a sexual, to a partner, it should have been at least someone that's over here fucking, you know what I mean, that fully knows the craft. But then you look at the picture that he posted of this girl. I told you she was complete trash and garbage. You're like talking like serious garbage. You're like, damn, I can't fuck someone that fucks around like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could judge me on my exes. But in essence, I wasn't there. I'm fully aware now. Alright, what else did I teach you? We talked about this huge teaching about the Kali. Again, you're going to have to catch that video because the cards are in the video, but I'm just going to read it out of the damn books that I just put away. That's what pisses me off about this. Where's that book? I don't know. It's right here. And it was all in that first video, and it all started with a Lumerian fucking card. So I'm going to redo this video because it was important shit. And I just don't want to have to redo it later. Not until next year when we revisit this bullshit. What card was it? I don't remember. It was like 30 something. I think it was 31. Nope. Was it? There it was. It was 30. Alright? This was talking about letting go, dude. And that's what the yantra meant. She calls us away from the world to journey inwards where a path of sacred introversion beckons. Turning within may feel natural or unfamiliar, but the journey within you will gain energy, insight, and freedom from the constraints of what has been. Allow what needs to end to do so. You shall realize you are not being denied, but released. There is something new on the horizon. Honor your losses, but keep hope in your heart for what is meant to be. All right, the Kalinita is a cycle of the waning moon, and that's where it is we're in the waning moon. We're getting ready for the dark moon, right? For the moment just after the height of the full moon into the phases of decline, right up until the black moon just before the new moon. So during the waning, we're letting go, right? We're letting go of beliefs. We're cleaning out our closet, as they say. We're letting go of things that no longer serve us. Then in the new moon, it's darkest before the new moon, meaning we're going to be empty and drained, and what am I going to do with my life now? Then the new moon comes with a new light, which is inspiration of what to put your focus on. So you start planting seeds under this new moon. And you put all your energy in it for about 15 days, and then there's a full moon. That full moon will be full off of the energy that we've planted in this last new moon is what? We're taking an adventure on that moon. But between now and then, we're working on it. So we're clearing away. What are we clearing away right now? Our fears and misbeliefs that we can't take this adventure, right? So then, by the new moon, I think it's on the 27th or some shit like that. Maybe even sooner, 17th. I don't remember. I don't have my moon chart in front of me. By that new moon, we'll start planning our next adventure, and we'll be ready and full by the full moon to take that adventure. All right, so now as we're taking the adventure, we're shedding these, you know what I mean, the fears and the wants, because we're actually fulfilling them in that. Then, by the new moon again, we're all done. We've already had this adventure. Now what are we supposed to focus on? God, He gives us new inspiration, and we build toward that. We follow the moon cycles. And then with the help of the planets, they give us, extra juice, if you will, extra energy. You know what I mean? So right now we're going to have the full moon. So we have had the full moon in Scorpio, which is about death and transformation, sex, the occult, all of that. Okay? So we've been doing all of that through this phase, through this waning phase. We were full of that, and we've been, letting all of that go with our belief systems and also learning about all of that shit. And then come again, like I said, the new moon will have new direction. We do this, and that's how you progress throughout the year, because you're changing your focuses, you're accomplishing goals, you're going through different levels of trials and tribulations, you're making very big strides every month, every day, every week. But this is where it happens most, is when you sit still. Listen. This moon phase embodies the natural magic inherent in letting go and allowing for the energies to run their course and die away. It can be assigned to embrace the qualities of decrease for a period to bring a cycle of experience to completion and generate what is necessary for the next cycle to be more abundant and nourishing than the last one. Give your societal preoccupations with constant activity and outwardly driven connection, or given ours. Honoring Nita Kali requires the use of our will to honor our soul's rhythm above peer pressure. And that's it. You're going against the grain. You're going to need willpower over this. All right? You're going to have to go, to go with your gut, not with your fears of your mind and the limitations in that, you need to go with your gut. There is a resistance to embracing the crumbling away of a form once cherished, and that's those tower moments. We have to let go of this. You can either let go of it, and I talked about it all this morning in that video, is like you have to let go of the old way of life for the new way of life to, take form. Yet in doing so, we can give a proper burial, allowing for the cleansing of emotions, perhaps anger, sadness, loss, or grief in the face of betrayal, disappointment, or confusion, to move through the soul. And that's where you have to honor, this is painful. It's painful to lose who you were to find who you are. That is so painful. What I've been through was very painful, bro. I had to go through the cleansing emotions of all my anger about my life and what, God had done and people had done. The sadness, the loss of losing, sacrificing everything. The grief in the face of betrayal, disappointments and confusions, not knowing what was going on, being disappointed, people fucking, all of this. I had to go through all of this in the last couple of years. Then the space for higher understanding, healing, even forgiveness and gratitude for what has been learned can open up. And that's where I was when I made that post. I was grateful for what God had taken me through. I was proud of it, and I finally stood up on the internet and told them about my lifestyle of living in my car. I didn't tell him it was because of God until I had to stand up to this douchebag. And then, and then I sent some tornadoes at his ass. It's like, no, I'm proud of what God did. I wasn't when I had to look people in the face, but now looking back, look at what I've become. You know what I mean? And that's it. Peace and release follow, and as soon after, a readiness for the new. And that's it. As much as it was so difficult to make through that, I am so ready to pack us up and do it again. But this time, we're going to do better. We're going to go. And that's what I wanted to talk about here. It gets onto this real deep. And this is why it was so important. To hold space in the liminal or between times when something is no longer in the superior evolution beyond the mere placement is yet to be, requires wisdom and courage. And that's it. You have to stay still while your new life is becoming. The inner processes need to take place beneath a cover of darkness, privacy, and sanctuary. You do not need to parade your process before others, nor prove anything to anyone. And that's where I spoke about in my video, is like, I will tell you what I did, but I don't need to shove it in your face, and I don't need to prove nothing to you. I'm going to enlighten you. This is a time of natural inward motion and decline. It is healthy and it can be enjoyable. Relish as you change to clear out and free yourself from unnecessary burdens of the mind and body. And that's it. I don't need to have shame or any of that shit on me because of the perception of others after what I've been through. If you're not used to letting go or believe you must constantly be on, then this is a chance to expand your psychological and emotional vocabulary. Allow for the divine feminine wisdom of the soul to do what it does well. Provide the method and the process for healing transformations. If you are used to controlling everyone and everything, consider this a chance to step back and allow others to develop their own power and responsibility. And that's another thing too, is like, these men in power, they have to let go of controlling everything. You know what I mean? They feel like I can't stop because what about everybody? This is an opportunity for them to develop their power and take some responsibility of the household too. Okay? While you reflect. Also, going back to this, allowing for the divine feminine wisdom of the soul. That's your inner heart telling you when things are going bad. And I had a great story to this, and I'm glad she's sitting here. When my daughter came home after her first boyfriend and her first breakup, this is her first one. I am 42 and I'm no better at this. And this is her divine feminine. Her mother comes to her and tells her, it's going to be okay. This is for the best. You're going to have lots of great experiences. You learned a lot. You got to go on some dates. You maybe had a first kiss that I don't want to know about. You had a great experience. This is going to be for the best. That's that inner divine feminine. That's your mothering, the goddess inside of you that is always nurturing you and telling you it's going to be okay. And although most of us didn't have it at home, that mother to come home to, if you would have lost your job and came home, your mother would have been like, it's going to be okay. That you deserve a better job. You work too hard. You're going to find a new job. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. Naturally, you're like, my father's going to kill me. But in the essence, it's like, something like that. But depending on your household, it's an inside feeling where your inner divine feminine tells you this is for the best. When you break up with someone, no, you deserve someone better. And to be honest, I didn't like that one to begin with. When you move out of that house, they're always encouraging you that it's going to be okay, my dear. You deserve better. That's a real nurturer, is always telling you it's going to be okay and giving you faith and hope and strength. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about, this divine feminine. Okay? Nitya Kali's message is to give yourself time and space to truly let go, as this ending is divinely intended. You shall receive abundant blessings that will more than replace any loss or suffering you've experienced through the conclusion of this life phase. And that's God's promise, and I said that too. He promised all of us, Jews and Gentiles alike, that he would restore all of it times 10, bro. He will. It's his promise. If you've been in a period of loss or grief, the oracle indicates that this is coming to an end, likely sooner than you realize, and yet you are invited to allow it to find its completion naturally, rather than trying to rush it to the ending. The oracle also predicts the closure around a matter of deep soul healing. Trust yourself and divine timing. You will instinctively sense when you are ready to put the sad days behind you and embrace the beginning of a happier time. No matter how likely that seems at the time, it will happen naturally, as sure as spring follows winter. I didn't think I'd ever come out of the dark night of the soul. By that time, I'd been in there for almost a year. I never thought it would end. I learned to just embrace it. I just learned to embrace it, the journey, and that's how I became a master at it. And I started mastering it. It doesn't really end. You go back into your soul. You journey back into your soul all the time. And it's dark in there. And every time you do it, you reclaim your own power. And we do it on schedules, and sometimes we're just pushed back in, and that's okay too, to go back inside and, sit with the darkness and clean some more out. There's plenty to clean out there, dude. We have a lifetime of cleaning in there. It's not something you're ever going to get done. When I first started this, I've learned, it was a self-healing journey, and people are going to trigger you, and that's going to get it all started. I used Rust as my trigger and said, let's go. And he started triggering me. And I would fucking blow up, and I'd come back, and I said, all right, I'm so sorry. Do it again. He takes this shit very fucking serious. We haven't, he must be triggered himself, obviously. Because they said it was supposed to trigger him into his healing, too. He has a very delayed response. I think he's like, dyslexic or something. He's not reading the fucking mirror right. Something. I don't know, his glasses are foggy. In the sense of, I thought I could do this in a fucking summer. I went into the darkest pits of my soul and never really came out. I'd see bright days outside of me, and I could enjoy the days, but I was always in this darkness of my own soul, just cleaning it out, my own dark feelings. And then sometimes I'd come out, and then I'd go back in. And then I realized that's what it really was about. And that's what it is to be a master alchemist. You repeat this on a daily basis. You go back into the pits of your soul and make sure you're good in there, and nothing's haunting you or screaming or crying in there. And sometimes it just, and there's plenty in there. You can't always see it. Somebody will, again, trigger you and brings out this, painful place inside of you that's screaming and crying and mad or upset. The oracle asks you to give the more challenging emotions such as grief and sadness proper honor and place. And that's what we do when we're in there. We cry and we scream and we get sad. When I tell people I've been doing shadow work, what does that mean? I'm in the darkest place of myself. And they ask me, what is that? What is shadow work? Internal inner child trauma healing, where we go back and look at the most painful parts of our lives and sit and grieve with ourselves and repair ourselves from those moments. I do that shit all fucking day, bro. I've been doing that shit for nearly 3 years now. That's what you do. That's what I do. And that's why I teach you. It's my life. It's a life for me. And I've made a career out of it. In essence, in the hopes to help what I was taught to do. Do not avoid them, but allow them to consume your entire being and believe and that they shall rule, or believing that they shall rule your life. And that's it. You go and you get lost. And that's what Carl Jung described. And I brought up his book too. His book is talking about the symbols. Is recognizing the symbols and stuff, but you have to go into your dark places to see the light codes. And that's how it is how did this whole video come together? It was all by the Surya Yantra, which was meditation, going into a quiet space and what's in there. And I tell you, I know what's in there with you. What's in there is your shadows, your secrets, your shames, your blames, your regrets, your neglects, your abuse, silence, anything that anyone's ever said to you or you've said to another. All the things that you don't want people to know is what's in your quiet space. And I teach you how to go in and face that. It's a part of your life that you're hiding. You put it in the shadow. You put it in the dark. You put a whole part of your life, many parts of your life, in this dark place. And you try to hide it from yourself and from others. That's why it's called the shadow. I teach you to go into this place of this memory of a real thing that really happened in your fucking life that you're denying, and get yourself out of there and shine light on it. So it's no more a darkness, a secret, a virus, a fucking cancer that's eating you up in your mind and in your heart and in your body. It's nothing more than a memory and an experience that you've had in life. And as much as it hurts you, when you speak about it, you will realize, and there's support groups especially, many people have lived that experience. Not everyone tells their story, but the ones that do are the ones that we call survivors of their experience. The rest of them are dying to their experience. They're tormented by their experience. I am a survivor of child sexual abuse with the fucking with quite a few ugly memories to go with it. That's something you would never want anyone to know. Did I do that to myself? No, I was a victim of something. And I don't want people to know that I was a victim of that something because it's hideous to know. And it comes with all kinds of shame. But when I tell you about this dark experience, I go from a victim to a survivor because I can tell you about it and how I lived through it. If I can't tell you about it, then that means I'm not living. I haven't got past it. I can't get through it. It's hidden somewhere, along with a lot of other things I'm hiding from you, that I'm hiding from myself. And without all those pieces of me being available and present, then I'm only half of me. And it's all those things those dark experiences that actually made me strong, that you don't know, that made me the way that I am. For the good or for the better or for the worst. And then we go in there and we make it even better. It's like I'm this way because of these things, but I can also be even better because of these things. Or you can use them as a crutch and say, my life is all fucked up because of these things. You use it as an excuse. You're a victim to your situation. You're a victim to circumstances. In the essence, we all are, but that's not true. They were fated to be, because the same circumstance that you've been through in the support groups, there's many to support you, is we've all been a victim to God's circumstances. In the essence, we're just here to overcome some shit. And whatever you're fighting, the battle that you're fighting, many have fought before you, and it's a battle of the mind. It's not a physical battle. The battle's done. Whatever has happened to you, it's done. And you're walking out feeling as if the wounded warrior is what they call that. Yeah, it wounded you terribly. But you still have more fight in you. You just need to go and patch up that wound. Right? And that's what I teach you to do, is, you know what I mean? You're going to be consumed by this. It's going to be all consuming so that we can breathe it all in and, breathe all the fire of this in. And that's where that fire, that anger, that rage, all of that vengeance, all of that, you know what I mean? All of that hatred and an eye for eye, all of that comes out. But we put that fire out with what? Water, which is what? Our true emotions, which is what? Our tears. You're built up with a lot of pain. And you push it out through fire, which is, anger. You can put this anger out by just feeling the pain. And when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel it and cry in front of a person, their heart drops to your frequency. When we try to be strong, people are strong around us. They try to show us their strength or be stronger than us. When we show our pain and our vulnerability and our suffering and our weakness, people can't match that. And it calls for a certain level of authenticity. You know what I mean? If we were, as adults, to literally, when somebody said something hurtful to our face, instead of to brush it off and act like it wasn't, you know what I mean, a sideways comment or a subliminal hit to the face, like you weren't just attacking me with your words. If we were to really look at that person in the face when they said this to us and well up in tears because it hurt and tell you, you're hurting me with your words, and just cried, just let a tear out and walked away, what would that do? Rather than acting like they didn't hurt us, because they keep trying to hurt us. They keep trying to get under our skin, right? They keep trying to say low comments and keep trying to be all powerful. What if you gave them that power? And I have an example of this. I did this with Russ finally, when he dropped a Fendi bucket. He kept trying to assert his, you know what I mean, his material world on me. That how wonderful he is and how powerful he is, that he can buy all this stuff for his girlfriend, and how I don't have shit. And I finally, you know, I kept fighting him. It's like, none of that matters to me. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. And I finally said, you know what, Russ? You're right. I'm all fucked up and I won't let nobody take care of me. You win. And I cried like a baby. You hurt me. Is that what you wanted? We do this. You wanted to publicly humiliate me. You want to get your point across that you're all powerful because you have money and you can lavish your girlfriend. And I've never had that in my life because I'm too proud. It hurts. Your words hurt. They're true. You win. And I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And he finally gave me a break. But only a little one, because look at what he came back with. The same fucking shit. My love language is Apple Pay. I love to give my cash away. And then there was April 7th, where I do all these wonderful things for my girlfriend. Shut up, bro. I said it hurt. You're not going to keep hurting me, idiot. I dealt with the hurt when I faced it. But in the essence, it's like, you know, you want to meet them with anger and you want to fight them because they're hurting you. And they think that they're winning because you're angry. But if they saw that you were hurting, do you think they feel real powerful hurting a person? Making a grown person cry? Do you feel real powerful about this? You feel real powerful terrorizing someone that's already hurting? And that's where it is. It's like, you know what? I don't have to match your energy. I'm just going to be very honest. And we're not. And so when we go back to this teaching here, and this is why I wanted to redo this, it's like, do not avoid them, but allow them to consume your entire being, or believe that they shall, or believing that they shall rule your life. You gotta go back to these moments, bro. They're pinnacle moments in your life. And I spoke about it in my Intro to Tarot part, not this last one, not 8. No, it was Intro to Tarot part 8, not 9. And we talked about a big exercise in the Three of Swords of sitting down and writing this fucking list and talking about your feelings and if you could talk to these people. And how do you know? Because you need to sit down with your inner self, and what would your inner child say to this person if you let your insides talk, instead of programming them and trying to make them sound better than they are, but you let that inner child that got hurt speak. It's painful work what I do, but in the end, what is it going to cost you? You're going to cry like a fucking baby, bro. What is so hard about what I do? The crying, the ego deaths, how you like literally mentally die, and you literally want to physically die because you're emotionally overwhelmed by just your trying to change your mentality about being better about things. That's it. It's and that's what I was going to read, was the alchemical transformation. It physically fucks you up trying to change your mentality, because you have to go through your emotions to do it. And it's really just built up, fucked up memories that we can do it out of. But we got to literally go put that skin back on and be that person again and relive this, you know what I mean? As if it's an astral projection almost, where you literally put yourself back into your former self, into the past, and relive it. the best you can based on the memories. I don't have much, but I can feel it all in my skin. I can feel what it felt like to be in that moment. You know what I mean? And that's where it is you put it back on. Only so you can take it off. But when you put it on, bro. And those moments hurt. There's so many in life where somebody said something to us and it hurt so bad. Or somebody crossed us, or somebody used us, somebody rejected us, somebody shamed us, somebody embarrassed us, somebody forgot about us, neglected us. There's so many people that treated us like that. And every single one of those moments, we acted like it didn't hurt, but it's hidden in our fucking emotions and in our memories. And we take it out on other people when they act like that person did. And we've long forgotten that person, but we didn't forget that behavior. So when we see and that's a trigger, when someone triggers, meaning they reenact a hidden memory inside of us that triggers a stored emotion of pain that we're not fully consciously aware of because we've tried so hard to forget about these awful moments. Hi, my name is... I'm Phoenix. I'm your spiritual healer and teacher. I teach you how to go through, your crazy ass mind and feelings to get back to God. And that's how I teach you. And I use all of their teachings to make it make sense. But at the end of the day, if you just came up to me, all I'm going to do is we're going to light a fire, we're going to kick back, and we're going to fucking zoom through your mind. As many emotions as I can get you to deal with until you feel like I can't breathe, and I say we got to take a break. And you're going to eat a good meal, and you're going to pass out, and you're going to be fucked up in the brain and in the body for a couple days because of everything I pulled out of you. And I'm going to let you take some peace on that and try to just kind of baby and nurture you. Give you cookies and shit. Where's the cookies and shit? You know what I mean? Try to love you until you're ready to talk about it, until it's came to the surface and more of it comes out. And that's the alchemical process. More of it's going to come out. And then you'll feel good about that. And we'll have a couple good days. And here comes Friday, bro. You ready? You ready? Are you ready? What does that mean? I don't know, bro. God's going to fuck with us again. Well, here we go. One more time. And it becomes a life. And we keep doing it until we have the right mindset to deal with life without being hurt about our past experiences and putting them out on other people. Christ consciousness. I'll stop after this card. Let's see. If you feel your hands are tied and you are unable to exert your will in the world at this time, don't fret. You can't make the world do what you want. You can't bend it to your will. Often, before a time of significant fruition, there's a period when nothing much seems to be happening. And that's it. What are you doing? Nothing much. I'm doing what I can. Planting seeds. Just, I'm a fucking not doing much shit bitch until God tells me to get to work. You are attending to your inner work and strengthening your vision and intention, but where's the evidence and the result of your hard work? And that was my morning video. It's like, I'm just sitting here with my intentions, gathering my strength for my vision, you know what I mean, working through my fears and anything that's holding me back from this, But where's the evidence of the result of your hard work? And that's what it is. I've spent 2 years cultivating a new world inside of me. It hasn't bursted outside of me, because I'm still cultivating it. It is building within the soul, just as a powerful energy built unseen with the seeds, ready to spring forth with unexpected and astonishing strength and vibrancy when the time is right. Let go of force, but do not give into despair or a feeling of defeat. Meaning it's not working, you don't see that anything's working, so you give up on the idea that it'll work. You keep faith, you just understand there's nothing I can do right now. And that's what God says, there's no work to be done. When He has work for you, believe me, He will not let you rest until it's done. But right now, most of the time, He wants you to work on yourself, and He'll work on the outside. And that's what I try to tell you. It's like, that's what He teaches me to do, and that's what I teach you. He'll provide our outside world while we take care of our inside world. Because until we have a good heart and a good mindset, our world outside is always going to crush us. We're going to keep getting heartbroken, and we're going to keep chasing the wrong things based on fear and desperation and old programming. And that's why I said, work on you, and I'll work on the things of this world for you, you know? And I said this earlier, and that's the difference between being a child, you know, going back to the Garden of Eden and, you know, being your own God. It's like, you can either go back and let God take care of you, and you take care of, you know, your feelings, and just let him take care of your needs, or you can go out there and forget about your feelings and go take care of all your needs and the needs of everybody else too. But when that burns out and you're in a hospital and you can't take care of your family, I want to show you that God's still there taking care of them. He will not fail you even then. But none of this was necessary. You're doing it for your own pride, to show people that you can do such things. You're showing the people that you are God, instead of letting God show you how great he is. And you show people, look what God did for me. No, you want to stand there and say, look, I built this tower. I built this city. We built this city on Rocket Road. Sorry, I got totally transported into the video. I can't even. You're like, really? Yeah, it's like they stepped inside my body or something. Not really. They're already in there. What? The whole universe. Come here, let me give you a hug. You're really gonna feel the electricity on this one. Alright, going back to it. Let's see, you and building your city and this and that. Let go of force. Oh, any cycle of holding back or lack of external support from your inner work will end, followed by a new era of divinely mandated manifestations. What does that mean? When you stop believing in the things of this world and you start believing in God and his miracles and his promises and his visions on your life, it starts coming faster than you were expected. It's like, how did this happen? I believed. You're amazing. You're magic. No, it was a lot of work to believe that shit. How do you believe in something that they only put in books? And that goes back to the Bible. It's not supposed to be that literal. No, I literally do what it says, and it literally happens. These weren't just stories. They were a way of life. But I don't just read the Holy Bible. We read all of them. And that's what I was saying. It's like we learn, you know what I mean, how to live by how we're taught. And what I'm trying to show you is you need a new teacher. Call me your teacher. Anyways, in the sense of I am that. And we're teaching you spirituality to expand your spirit. If somebody is teaching you something stupid about spirituality so you can make your life better, that's not how this works. You're not trying to make your current life better. You're trying to destroy that life, outgrow it, and become the best version of yourself, which is not making your current life better. That's just maintaining the life that you are. Got it? Get it? Good. There was lots more to this. I read also out of the Sacred Geometry book, I read the Suri Yantra. You could probably look that up online. This is good for you guys. It forces you to actually, do some work of your own. But all of this is about, it all circles back, circle jerkers, to the suit of swords. We're in our air, as I'm sending tornadoes and smoke signals, hurricanes. That's all of the air, dude. It's all of the air. Any of that. Rain comes from the, water falls from the air. All of that. Just know that. We did a whole teaching. We've done a whole, and we're still not done with the intro to tarot with the air signs, which is the swords. We're gonna finish the last bit of it, and that's mastering it. The next ones we have is the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. So we're in the highest level of our thought processes, and I want to make sure that you understand how this all works. You can direct your mind into all the different areas, and that's where I showed you astral travel, I showed you religion, I showed you all of these things of people, how they direct their mind to get what they want, and how you can create such things. But what are you trying to get out of this life? Do you want nothing more than the trinkets of this life that everyone else has? Are you here to collect life, or are you here to experience life? Are you here to prove something in this life? What are you really doing with your life? Are you trying to, you know what I mean? What does that look like for you? And if you're not, it's always a perfect time. And that's what I'm supposed to do every week, is catch new people that are giving up, that God has changed their life, and showing them a new way of life. I'm not showing you, you're obviously not going to walk my life, but I'm encouraging you to walk that inner knowing in your heart. God's pulling you somewhere, and he might be pulling you, as I said it in my last video, he might be pulling you to Alaska to meet up with me and have this little retreat. You might have that alignment. I know where she's going. I want to meet her. We'll work through your fears, and we'll see you there. You know what I mean? Are you fearful of what? Why don't you want to meet a stranger and have an adventure that's encouraging you to do so? In essence, I'm just saying, whatever your heart desires, you should be going towards that and working through the fears of why you can't. Now, we're not talking about chasing. You know what I mean? We're talking about allowing. The divine feminine doesn't chase, she attracts. Meaning, I have a vision. I'm not going to chase at it. I'm going to, work through it in my mind, create through my mind, not with my hands. That's all that means. It's like, I'm being receptive to how this works. And then, when the time is right, because we live in the 3D, I will take action on this dream. But I don't have to spend my whole life chasing my dreams. I'll spend more time thinking about it and creating it within my mind, so then I know when the right time is to move and what to move on to make this dream a reality. Otherwise, you're just living a fucking nightmare, chasing a bunch of shit of this world. It wasn't really a dream, it was just an idea that you can't get out of your head, which they call obsession. This is your obsession. So anyways, that's where that all goes. I hope this video fully freaking comes in. We talked about all kinds of great stuff. I talked about, the dark ones that studied the tree of life, down to who came up with it, which was the angels and the archangels. And the Surya Yantra comes from Hindu beliefs, but it was still taught in, Egyptians, and it was taught all the way through. And that's where this one religion that everyone feared in the end times. It's like, no, we all serve God through all of our, and that's the micro to the macro. We all have microcosmo religions to the macrocosmo of God. And that's it. We allow everyone to serve God as long as they're serving, a benevolent God. And that's, that's a kind of, supposedly, and that's what I said in my last video, I was like, that's the right to religion here in America. We can honor that all religions have a right to exist. And I go in and I show you how how righteous each of them are. And how they are right. And they deserve, their place in heaven too, and that they were never excluded, but by their actual teachers or the patriarchy of their religion excluded others. But that's it. It's like, a lot of my viewing is in India right now. They can see that I know their teachings without being in their country, and that I honor their teachings and teach the Western civilization, not just theirs, but I teach them how to integrate our teachings and those of many other cultures. And that's honoring each of these cultures and integrating them. I'm not overtaking you with Jesus. I'm bringing Jesus to you and your culture and showing you that your gods honored Jesus too. And the consciousness and the righteousness of what he was. It goes all the way back to time. And the reason that people reject, I know, they're crazy. Can we show you a video? The praying mantis acting all crazy?
The cherry blossom version.
Cherry blossom version of a praying mantis.
Because usually the green ones live in actual forest.
Have you guys ever had a praying mantis? They used to come to me. I made videos.
Once they mate, they eat the male's head.
Yeah, I'll eat your fucking head. I don't need your brain. I just needed yours. Just kidding. Anyways, does he grow another head? That's a Gorgon teaching. That's what we're teaching here, is the expansion of your brain and allowing for new information, but also, new people and new experiences and new. In order for you to allow any of this in, you're going to have to die to the old. Your religions don't allow this. Your townships don't allow this. Your relationships, your everything doesn't allow for this. And that keeps you locked away from a lot of great people and culture and you know what I mean, societies. It's a choice you make. You choose to follow everybody else's rules. And I've shown you in each culture they have their rules of where they don't fuck with us. I'm showing you why we need to break some of these rules down so we can be a family again and that you're worth fucking with. And I want to fuck with you. I fucks with you from afar. You know what I mean? In that sense, it's like, you know, and that's why it's so important. It's like, you know what I mean? Islamic people don't want to talk to us just because we believe in Christ. Hold on! We believe in other stupid shit too. You can't blame us for believing that. Wait a minute. What do you believe in? Do you believe in magic? Let me show you how magic works. In the name of Christ. Hold on, bitch. You're crazy. I mean, I guess. I have a dream, guys. And my dream was based on the dream that all dreamers dreamt. I see, you know, when I came back and why I came back. It's because I could see that I could bring everybody back with me. I could bring them all back to God. In this world, in this time, in this life. I'm not that same person, but it's still that promise and what is what brought me here. And you know what I mean? That's what you see. That's my light. Love, compassion, and unity. I was of the light in one life. It took me a lot of lives to become all light. But I became the light again, only to realize that at the gates of heaven that I could not leave you here in the darkness. That even though I had overcome you, I couldn't come without you. And if I could do it, I could get you to the light too. And then God comes out and he's like, yeah, nobody ever turned down the serpent. And so I'm here, and I do this. I promise you, I've seen the end. And that's where I was confused. It's like, nah, not 144,000. There's got to be more than that. No, I lead the first 144 who leads their family and their friends, who leads their family and friends, and everybody, you know what I mean? It's follow the leader, and we all become a leader. We all become, you know, we all are led. I'm not your leader. God leads us all, and all of them led us. Your religions, your gods, you know what I mean? God above gods, you know, the planets and the moon and everything, they all lead us. I'm led by the Holy Spirit to lead the Holy Spirits on this planet. They always say the chosen ones. It's a choice, bro. You choose to be the ones. You know, God's children. You choose to go back into the garden and live by God's rules and let him take care of you, to honor all this. And I show you that each of their, you know, religions, all of their rules, that it was very similar to, you know what I mean, being obedient. Somehow, in that obedience, part of the obedience was to discriminate against everybody else that wasn't obedient like you. Not remembering that you weren't always obedient. You weren't born into obedience. You chose to become obedient. And sometimes you choose not to be. And for some reason, we look at those that haven't chose to be obedient yet as not worthy. That's not how God works, bro. And that's why he's out there trying to get the disobedient, as you would say. Those off their path. The sinners. What are you talking about? They're just living life. You're calling them all these things. You were doing all these things until somebody told you it was the wrong way of life too. And then they they put all this extra on it. The Bible never said all that shit, bro. They never said it. And I love how, you know what I mean? They're always saying, you know, setting them apart. Jesus said the Jews, the very ones that killed him, you know, that do all this mystical arts and shit, the Jews and the Gentiles alike. I mean, all of them, bro. It didn't matter. And he went into all the foreign countries for the foreign people, not his own. And that's exactly what St. Patrick did. He went into the foreign land for the foreign people, the same people that enslaved him. He went to save. And that's where, you know what I mean? It's like the same people that ate me up are the same people that I'm here to, you know what I mean, set free. And that's what you're going to need to do too, is forgive your enemies. They're not your enemies, bro. You made them an enemy of your mind because they hurt your feelings. If you repair your feelings, then you literally don't have a hurt mind and a hurt conscience about a certain type of people. And that's where that prejudice and discrimination comes. Allie, why can't, you know what I mean? Like, why don't you fuck with white girls? I mean, I know there's a lot of reasons why you don't want to fuck with me. But even before you met me, you wouldn't fuck with me. Because of your country and your religion. White girls are fun and crazy. What's wrong with you? In the essence, he was taught that, I don't fuck with you. I don't know why you don't fuck with me. I mean, I guess I know why. I mean, I know why people are afraid of me. I can send tornadoes and shit. That's pretty scary. Yeah, I know. But, as long as you're on this side, you're okay. Just don't be on that side. You're either with me or against me in this sense. Is he gonna go get that guy? I don't know. I didn't really mean to. I just said it. That's what you don't know. He's like, fuck, your words are all powerful. And then I fell asleep. I didn't even, you know what I mean? I fell asleep and it just exploded right outside of my back door. I said it and fell asleep and I didn't even know what was happening. If I would have known, I would have put it out. I would have known it was me. I just woke up and I went outside and saw it. I was like, I told my daughter immediately. I was like, dude, there's tornadoes in this wind. I didn't know they already hit until a little bit later, and I was like, oh shit. And I was kind of quiet about it, but I was like, well, they came out of my backyard. I think that I'm guilty. And that's what happened. What happened? It came out of your mouth. Some of you need to take responsibility for the words, for the role that you played. They may have said something, but what did you say back? How did you fight back when you were hurt? You're not guilty. You're not a victim. You're just part of an experience that you need to re-experience and let go. And that's what I'm teaching you at the end of a Sunday fun day. And tomorrow will be more of that introspection. Not really tomorrow. I want to do some other shit, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. But again, I just didn't like how that last video ended because I gave it all I had and it didn't give it to you. And that's what I'm giving to you, is the power of God. And some goofy noise that my son keeps playing. Hey, I love you guys. I will see you for tomorrow's Moon Day energy. What do we do in a Moon Day? We're in our mind and our emotions. You're in your High Priestess. You're in your Moon. Your 8 of Cups. Introspection. You need to let go of some shit. Wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that. I'm always going to encourage you to live a better life. To find a better wife. If you had a good wife, I wouldn't even fuck with you. I'd praise you and I'd use her as you know what I mean? I'd use her as an example of what good looks like. Right now you're faking it. Quit faking it. You could do better. In the name of Kobe Bryant, you can do better. Hey, I love you guys. Later, haters. Bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye.